What is up, everyone? Paul from Timeless Productions here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how and where to kill all 8 of the Furnace Golems inside of Shadow of the Erdtree and get all of their cracked tiers in order for you to go ahead and put them into your physick and make your physick 10 times better. And it's also to eliminate these guys from around the map so that they don't cause you any more trouble while you're exploring and you're going around the DLC. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead, jump right into our very first Furnace Golem, and we'll go from there. So our first Furnace Golem is going to be right at the beginning of the DLC. It'll be right down the path past the Scorched Ruins. You'll see him the second you begin this DLC. He'll just be walking and wandering around right next to where the 3-path cross grace is. And again, these guys are huge. They have an immense amount of health. These are not enemies that are going to be easily destroyed, and they deal a ton of damage as well. So I would suggest using your summons, your spirit ashes, or just being able to get some of the scattered tree fragments in order for you to increase your health and damage, because if not, these will take forever to dispatch. So for our first one, the best thing that you're going to want to do is hit him in the leg. Now if you go from leg to leg and do enough damage, he will eventually stumble and fall down. Now this can be done for basically all of the Furnace Golems. You want to do your visceral attack right here on his head, and most of the time that'll be what you do to kill him. So for our second Furnace Golem, we're going to go ahead and head over here to the Ancient Raw Ruins, and it's going to be right across the bridge when you first get over here. Now if you've already made it past the bridge and you're further on in the DLC, head to the site of grace that I did, and we're going to go ahead and head behind the Furnace Golem to make this a little bit easier and make sure that we get our Mimic out before we have him actually wake up and spawn and be ready to fight us. So we're going to go ahead, jump right in, and attack his legs. Again, make sure that you're going from right to left, left to right. Just keep moving from leg to leg. Once you do enough damage, again, he will stagger and he will fall down, and you can do your visceral attack, which does a ton of damage rather than having to sit here and keep attacking his legs. Now he does a couple of different abilities. He does one leg stomp where you could just jump up as he's about to hit the ground and you'll be able to dodge that. He will also do a jumping with both legs and drop down with the fire. That is hard to dodge. You actually have to run away from it and get enough distance between you and the Furnace Golem in order to get past this one. The rest of them are pretty easy to dodge, and he won't do them as long as you stay underneath his legs. Now for our second Furnace Golem, we went ahead and got ourselves the Crimson Sapping Cracked tier, which is absolutely amazing. For our third Furnace Golem, we're going to go ahead and head over here towards the right side of the Shadow Keep, going into the Shadow Keep Church. Now, for this one in specific, there's only like 2 or 3 of them that you have to do this for. But when you get to the ones that are like this, so actually this one is the one in the beginning of the Shadow Keep, and all you have to do is follow the path completely up and you'll be able to find him. He is directly guarding the Shadow Keep. Again, do the same thing that we've done for the past couple of Furnace Golems. Just keep hitting his legs and doing as much damage as we can. Once you, again, get to certain abilities, just try to dodge. You can also do that kicking attack, which is very hard to fully dodge, especially when you're just coming straight forward and he does it. But as long as you dodge that, you are in a very good state. Again, once you do enough damage though, he will stumble down. As you guys can kind of see here, he's starting to stagger, but he will fall down and you'll be able to kill him very, very easily. And for this one, we're going to go ahead and get the Crimson Burst Dried tier. Now, let's go ahead and move on to our very next one. Our next one is going to be right over here inside of the right next to the ruins of SOTE. It's the one that is going towards the church from the right side of Shadow Keep. you guys will be able to see this one as you're making your way towards the church. Very hard to miss. Most of these guys are very hard to miss. There's one that is actually hidden. Other than that, though, you'll basically run through these guys as you're heading down, just main paths. Now, for this Furnace Golem, there's going to be a little bit of a difference because of the fact that this one, actually, if you go towards him and you head down to where his legs are, as you guys can see, there's a spirit spring there. That is there for a good reason. If you go to his legs and try to hit his legs, he has this armor around his legs that you cannot do a single amount of damage to them. I was sitting here for a while and I could not figure out what was happening. So for these Furnace Golems, we actually have to do something special. We're going to head over here towards where Castle Anissus, and there's going to be this path right on the side where we have to go to this small cabin. So if you head over here, we're just going to go ahead and follow the path underneath where the bridge is, and there's going to be this small cabin. We actually have to go here for a cookbook. For this cookbook, we'll be able to actually make these hefty furnace pots. Now, the hefty furnace pots is what you need in order to kill any of the Furnace Golems that have the armor on their legs. So make sure that you're grabbing this cookbook so that you can actually craft more when you run out. They only take about 2 to 3 of the pots to actually kill, so it's not too many of them, but you want to make sure that you have as many hefty furnace pots as you possibly can, just in case you do miss or you get hit while throwing one. Anything could happen. It's better to have more than to have none at all. So we're going to go ahead and head back to the Furnace Golem, and we're going to head up this spirit spring that was on the side over here. Once we get up here, we're going to wait for him to approach the cliffside. He will be throwing these magma-like rocks, moon, whatever you want to call them, at you. Just make sure that you're dodging them. They do track you, so it's very hard to dodge, but as long as you keep moving, you should be good. He will do a jumping attack, as you guys saw right there, and it will hit you if you're too close to the edge, so you make sure that you're watching out for that. But once you see him like this, you can go ahead, throw your furnace pot directly into the big furnace thing on his head, and after, like I said, 1, 2, maybe 3 depending, you will kill him. And with this one, we get the Cerulean Sapping Crack tier. Now we're going to go ahead and head on to our very next one. Our next one is going to be over here towards which is the ruins of Unte. When we head down here to the castle watering hole, you actually have to take a coffin down here through a secret area inside of Shadowkeep. I do have videos on that, so make sure you guys are checking out the other videos on the channel for you guys to be able to know how to get here if you haven't got here yet. But if we head over here, there's actually 2 inside of this area. There's the one sleeping over there that we're going to have to wake up, but there's one that is going to wake up on the right side over here by himself. We want to take out the one that wakes up by himself just to make it a lot easier. You can take him out either one, but this one is more likely to wake up while you're fighting the other one than vice versa. So we're going to go ahead. Now this one, you can just go ahead, hit him on the legs, fight him like you normally would the other Furnace Golems, and take your time with it, and just make sure that you're doing as much damage as you possibly can to these guys, and get the stagger on them. Again, make sure that you're doing your visceral attack on these guys, or else you're going to be here forever. So we're going to go ahead, run over, do our attack on him, and once we kill him, we're going to go ahead and grab our next tier, which is the oil-soaked tier. Now we're going to go ahead and head over to the actual ruins of Unte, and if you follow the path I'm taking, we're going to go ahead, head up this wall right over here. We're going to head this way. We're going to jump on this roof, head over here, and on this balcony right here, you can actually look where the furnace part of the Furnace Golem is, and we're going to go ahead and toss in a hefty furnace pot. It has to be a hefty. I tried using a regular one just to see if that would wake him up, but we need a hefty one. So go ahead, toss a hefty one directly in. It'll wake him up. It does no damage, unfortunately. That would be even better if it took down his health to like halfway. But we can go ahead and regular fight this one anyway, so we're just going to go ahead, hit his legs like we would any of the other ones, and get him done. Now this also opens the ruins of Unte, so you can actually go in there for the altar, which makes this kind of a 2-in-1 reason that you want to do this. So once we kill this Furnace Golem, we're going to go ahead and grab our next tier, which is the Blood-Sucking Cracked tier. Next, we're going to go ahead and head over here to the Cerulean coast, and right over here on this edge, we're going to go ahead and find another one of the Furnace Golems. Now, if you have Lamidar's Jail open, go ahead, teleport to that side of Grace, and we're very close to the initial area. You're going to want this place open in this side of Grace in case you do die or anything goes wrong, because it makes it 10 times easier to get here, considering there's not many sites of Grace inside of the Cerulean coast. So we're going to go ahead, just follow the path that I'm taking over here, and watch out for these worm-like enemies. I actually went the initial wrong way. It's actually up here on this cliffside to our right. We can't get over here, so we actually have to follow the initial path that we took to get to the Laminator's Jail, but it's going to be right over there. We're going to go ahead, follow the cliffside over here so that we don't get hit by any of the worm enemies that we're going to find on our way. And there's going to actually be this like hill on the right side where the worm enemies are over there. We can go ahead and just head up here, and right to our right, the second we get to the top over here, you're gonna go ahead and see the Furnace Golem just doing his thing, walking around and chilling. Now there is a spirit spring for this one, because this is one of the ones that have the armor on the leg, so it is going to be a little bit more difficult. But there is a wider area once you get up the spirit spring than the last one that we had done, where he actually had the armor on his legs, so it makes it 10 times easier with this larger and bigger area for us to run around and dodge all of the Furnace Golem's attacks. So go ahead, head up here, and do the same thing as we did with the last one. Dodge his attacks if he does the fire meteors, or if he jumps up and tries to hit you. And just go ahead and toss your hefty furnace pots directly into his head. And we get ourselves the Glovewort Crystal tier from this one. Now we're going to go ahead and head on to our very next one. Our next one is going to be right over here, directly inside of the Ilac River, whatever you call it. If you have this side of Grace opened up, I would definitely suggest going here. And once we get out of this cave, we're going to go ahead, head over to our left. There's going to be these rocks that we actually have to jump across in order for us to make it to a kind of secret area inside of the DLC. So we're just going to go ahead, jump across these rocks. There is an item there, so I would suggest grabbing it on your way here so you don't have to redo the jump. It's another cookbook, of course. There's a lot of cookbooks inside of this DLC for multiple things. So once we get over here, we're going to go ahead, drop down, and follow the side over here past the weird bird-like enemies that I absolutely hate inside of this DLC. Just stay to your left and just follow the path as far down as you possibly can. Now there is going to be a site of Grace coming up. You're going to want to grab this site of Grace so you don't have to do this huge run back to the Furnace Golem every single time if you do die. This one is a little bit of a harder Furnace Golem than the last ones have been. At least for me, it took a lot more challenging tactics to take him down than the last ones had. So go ahead again, grab this side of Grace, and we're gonna head forward a little bit more, and we're gonna head towards our right side where there's going to be more rocks that we can go ahead and drop down and bring ourselves down to the bottom of this river. Now once you get to the bottom of this river, you're gonna look directly forward and you're gonna see this Furnace Golem plain as day. He is very, very, very hard to miss, especially in this bright area. You can see him just pop out almost directly. It's right down here. This is the area that we're actually going to completely. Again, it's kind of a secret area. It's not too well known for, other than for the Furnace Golem, of course. And he's just walking around doing his thing. And we're going to go ahead and fight him. Now, you are in the water, so it kind of helps with the fire, because the fire damage isn't as much if you do get hit by it. At least I believe that's a thing inside of Elden Ring. I know it was a thing in the Dark Souls games. I can't remember if that's actually a thing still inside of Elden Ring. And this one, you can go ahead, hit him in the legs, and take them out the normal way. Now, this is going to be our final Furnace Golem. They are all pretty simple. There's only 2 that you actually have to use the hefty furnace pots for, so make sure that you guys do grab the cookbook and at least have 6, maybe 8, depending on how long it actually takes you to kill and fight the 2 with the armor on their legs. Boom, we're gonna go ahead and kill our 8th and final furnace golem, and we're gonna grab ourselves the Viridian Hidden Tier as our reward. Now, the Viridian Hidden Tier eliminates all stamina consumption in mixed physick, so it really helps with stamina. Our next one, the Glovewort Crystal Tier, enhances attacks of spirits in mixed physick, which makes it 10 times better, especially if you're getting your revered spirit ashes. The next one is Blood-Sucking Crack Tier, enhances attacks on cost of HP in mixed physick, which, of course, if it will lower your health, but you actually get more damage. The Cerulean Sapping Crack Tier grants attacks FP restoring effect in mixed physick. Our next one, the Crimson Burst Dry Tier, steadily restores HP of nearby allies for a time in mixed physick. And for our next one, grants attacks HP restoring effect in mixed physick. That is all of the tiers that we got between all. Oh, we also have Deflecting Hard Tier, enhances Spontaneous Guard in mixed physick. That is all of the tiers that we got from all of the Furnace Golems inside of the DLC, and that is where and how to defeat every single one of them. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. We'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, and remember to stay timeless.